Okay, hi everybody. It's Dr. Debbie, and I am here with my very special guest today. And we have Peggy Porter with us. Peggy is, first of all, she's just a phenomenal human being, and you will find out for yourself. But she is one of our lead coaches within the PBT Institute. And each of our coaches specializes in just a certain area that someone would be probably dealing with when hard hit by betrayal. And Peggy has her own specialty. So she's going to talk all about it. But of course, we're going to be talking all about trust, what happens, what to do when trust is shattered, and how to heal it. So welcome, Peggy.
Thanks, Debbie.
Absolutely. So tell
to
us
be
what
here.
your specialty is within the PBT Institute.
Okay, so my specialty in the community is reconciliation and forgiveness. So, and I do a lot as well around self-care. I can totally relate to all the challenges that come along with being betrayed just because of my own experience with that. And so my husband and I did reconcile, and I shared the work that we did, and I support other people in their own reconciliation, but even people who have decided not to reconcile, I support them in still going forward with forgiveness and also self-care and personal healing.
And it's so, I just want to make sure that everybody knows when it comes to forgiveness, I really believe, and if you remember, we had Paul Young do a masterclass within our
Yes.
community, which was incredible. And I remember he said this, and it really struck me. And he just said how forgiveness has so much to do with us. Reconciliation has so much to do with the other person. And you may be in a situation, and we see this all the time within the community, where it is not safe in anyone's best interest to reconcile, and they're best off healing themselves and moving on. And that was the case with my family. Or if the situation lends itself, if you're willing, if you want to, and two people are on board with it, there is that opportunity for reconciliation. Not for everyone, no judgment here. And it's interesting because that was my experience as well. That was the deal breaker. So my husband and I were, we're done. We were done, and then came back together as two completely transformed people, and then married each other again. So, and I have to say, I don't know about you, Peggy, but I've been through death of a loved one. I've been through disease. There was nothing for me as hard as that.
Yes. I totally agree. I had lost my mother, and I'd lost my father and my sister within like a year and a few months prior to that. And my betrayal was just, it was a different type of grief. And it was a grief that was long lasting, and that absolutely had to go through the process of that whole grieving and loss of expectations and loss of the life that you thought you were going to be living. And so, and around forgiveness, it is very common that people think they need to forgive early on. And sometimes that is not the path to go down. There's a lot of things that have to happen before you're in a place of forgiveness, whether you reconcile or whether you don't. Like you said, it has really nothing to do with the other person, but it's just about you being able to move on without carrying the bitterness and anger and feelings of revenge and hatred and all of the things that can keep us stuck and make us sick.
I'm so glad you said that about not forgiving too early. And even though it has so much to do with us, when we forgive too early, I find it backfires every time because we're not doing it for the right reasons.
Yes.
And, if we don't feel safe and valued and we forgive, we feel worse. I remember reading a study that said just that. If we do feel safe and valued and we forgive, we feel better. But in my personal experience, I guess in the beginning, I was expecting this one big grand ta-da moment. And that's not at all how it looked. And it for me, and what I see with a lot of our members, it happens in layers and stages. Do you find that to be the case as well?
Yes. Forgiveness isn't one and done at all. Yeah, you can go back and forth too. You think you've forgiven, and then a lot of emotions that you maybe haven't processed can come back up again, and you may feel that you're backsliding, but you're not backsliding. It's just the process that you need to go through. And it's important for people to remember that when they think that they're stuck and they're not going to be able to move forward. It's just, that's part of the process. Sometimes we do feel stuck, and we're only going to stay stuck if we allow ourselves to stay there. But when we know that we can get out of that stuckness and do the work on our own personal healing, then that can allow us to continue to move forward.
It's so true. And it does take time, and which brings up the idea of trust.
Yes.
Because trust takes time too. It took time the first time we decided, or we felt comfortable enough to trust in someone. And then for sure, if we're rebuilding trust in that same person, it's going to take a long time. And you know, I talk about the brick wall and the brick wall of trust. And I look at trust like a brick wall. Every opportunity someone has to show that they're trustworthy, that's one brick in that brick wall, right? So the only way I know of a brick wall to be built is brick by brick by brick. Now, the person who built the wall can shatter the whole thing. Well, the person whose trust has been shattered can look at the rubble of bricks and say, I don't have the least bit of interest in watching that thing get rebuilt. Totally fine. If they do, however, I look at it as their job is to be willing, and they don't have to, but that would be their role if they're willing to watch the brick wall be rebuilt. And the other person has to be a really good bricklayer, and it goes up the same exact way, you know, brick by brick by brick. So let's talk about trust. How do you see trust? And then we'll talk about maybe what you've seen within the community.
Well, just when you mentioned that brick wall, because for me, trust is about a sense of safety. And when you were just talking about that brick wall, it made me think of that, because when that brick wall has been torn down, there goes our sense of safety, our sense of protection. And then we feel open and vulnerable and raw, and it completely, as you like with a brick wall, when it does come tumbling down, it's complete destruction. So trust is about building up that sense of safety again. And that is done brick by brick. And it's not even, you know, all about the other person. It's about you being able to build up your own sense of trust within yourself, that you will be okay, no matter whether the reconciliation happens, no matter whether it doesn't happen. Because there comes a certain point, I think, where I realized that I cannot rely on someone else's behavior for my sense of worthiness. And so I had to recognize that, yes, I needed my husband to, you know, I had to set boundaries, and I had to feel safe. And he had to recognize that he had to, like you said, build that wall brick by brick with his actions and his behaviors and his words. But I also had a responsibility to recognize that no matter what happened, that I had to learn that I would be okay, because it was only me that was in control of my actions. So,
you know,
that's the process.
Right. And it's a grueling one, but it creates a new level of you that never would have had the opportunity to show up had that not happened. And even, you know, when you say that, and this is exactly what post-betrayal transformation is about. This is exactly what moving through the stages, you know, is about. Because think about it. Here was that version of you who, you know, I mean, I know with me, 100%, there wasn't a cell of me that didn't trust. There was no reason not to, right? And then rebuilding yourself and rebuilding in just your own personal power and your own sense of, my sense of safety and security is up to me. If I choose to have a relationship with somebody or become vulnerable or whatever, that's okay. But I'm taking care of myself and rebuilding myself first. And it sounds like that's what you're saying too. And that's where that post-betrayal transformation comes in, because not only are you rebuilding your life, you're rebuilding yourself from that shattered sense of self, rejection, abandonment, belonging, confidence, worthiness, trust. These are gigantic. And when they all start getting rebuilt, that's what makes this version of you that is so solid and so strong and just so different than
Yes.
the pre-betrayal version. Tell us about some of the, I mean, of course, no names or anything, but
Yeah.
maybe just some members you've seen, like where, you know, the trust was so fragile and
Mm.
the betrayal was so new. And then what you've seen in how they show up now.
Well, I think a lot of what the support is absolutely crucial in being able to build up trust in yourself and in others, because I am a firm believer that healing cannot be done in isolation. So I think with the support, the people in the community that I've worked with have been able to move forward in their sense of trust. And a lot of it is helping them create safe and clear boundaries. A lot of the work is in helping them with their feelings of worthiness and self-love. A lot of it is recognizing that trust is a process and it's not something that's going to be built overnight. And also, sometimes people have come to the community that are very, very new, that have just recently found out about their betrayal. And in that particular instance, they're not necessarily thinking about, necessarily the building of trust. They just need to be able to get out of bed. And so it could just be about, in that stage, just helping them feel safe enough and to be able to take care of themselves enough to be able to get through their day to day. But it's tremendous in how you see them move through with the support and with the willingness that they have to allow this particular, you know, devastation become the catalyst to help them recognize that they want more out of life. They don't want to stay in this stuck place, which is one of the big things for me. Early on, that was just something that I recognized. This was not going to rob me of the rest of my happiness.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. I got chills when you said that. But it's really so true. Now think about it. Someone comes into the community. It takes so much courage
Mm,
because the person they trusted the most proved untrustworthy. And then the natural next step is, well, where was I during all this? How did I not see? How did I not know? And when we're speaking about betrayal, this is just for everyone. It's not only your partner. This is a family member, a friend,
yes.
a coworker, but that's the natural questioning of things. It's like, well, I can't trust that person. How on earth? I can't trust myself. Well, then how on earth can I trust anyone or anything? So it is just such a bold move, even to say,
Mm,
even though I don't trust the person I trusted the most, and I don't trust myself, I'm going to trust you enough, PBT Institute, to
yeah.
see if I can have the support. So
Yeah.
that's why I admire every single person who comes into our beautiful community, because we know how hard it is, and it takes a lot. But tell us, like, what you've seen. How strong do you see somebody, showing up when they've taken the time, when they've done the work?
Oh, well, like I've seen incredible people that have gone through the PBT Institute. Some of them have been there, since the beginning, and they're just having all these breakthroughs. They have, they have, for people who have reconciled, they have created stronger marriages. For people who have decided that reconciliation is not what what is good for them, they have taken that and they have just moved forward in their own life. I have a lady who, she was betrayed not only by her husband, but her best friend as well. And she was able to recognize that it's about her and her boundaries and about what is good for her. And she has really, I think, taken a lot of, some of the, I guess, sense of powerlessness that she has and turned it inward and made her feel more powerful.
Hmm.
So I think one of the things that was crucial in my healing was finding people who had gotten through it and come out on the other side. And I wouldn't have been able to do that had I not, been in communities, and had I not been, reading and listening to podcasts and hearing people who had actually done the work. And it is powerful to see people go through that whole process of transformation, to go from maybe not being able to get out of bed in the morning then to be able to, start a new career, or um, uh, start to travel, start to take courses, start to get into hobbies that they've always wanted to do, but they never gave themselves permission to do.
Yeah.
So I see all sorts of that, as far as the progress in the community with clients.
It's so beautiful to watch, and I see that as they leave stage, that's more of like an entering into stage 4 and even stage 5.
Mm,
That's when now we're ready for that new level of
yeah,
health, that new
yeah,
business, that new body, that new
yeah,
relationship with that person or with somebody else, and it's really in moving through the stages.
yeah,
So the Trust Again Intensive, and I think is it like the 5th or 6th time we've done it, and
yeah,
it's just this amazing way to just to dip your toe in to trust and just say, okay, well, I'm not sure what this whole thing is about,
yeah,
but let me just start with a little 5-day experience. So I'm going to put the link here for the Trust Again Intensive, and that's coming up really, really
yeah,
soon. And you see the members who come in and see you from there, and what they've already come from is this 5-day experience where we are taking on shattered trust
yeah,
from the original place it was shattered, which is always a surprise. That first day is always a shocker for people. And we talk about the 4-step trust rebuilding process, and the window of willingness, and the version of you who is able to trust, and boundaries, and our BS meter, and so many things we're taking on. So as we're wrapping this up, and you can just, everybody, it's just the PBT, as in post betrayal transformation, the pbtinstitute.com/trust intensive, if it feels like a fit and you want to join us. So what would you say as we wrap this up about someone who is shocked, blindsided, untrusting, sort of, putting up that big wall, not sure they can trust in anyone and anything? Give them some hope.
Well, I've been there. I have come out on the other side, and it is just, you know, a little bit at a time. We can't get to, we can't get to Z without going through the alphabet. So I find that that's the way healing. We don't know one day to the next how we're going to go through it, but we just put one foot forward. We just do the next right thing, is how I like to encourage clients. Sometimes we don't know what the next right thing is, but support is absolutely crucial. And it's what I needed to get through. And as far as trust is concerned, it's something that I never really fully understood until I became knowledgeable about how to rebuild that trust. And I know that's what has really helped me. So I just want to let everybody know that it's absolutely possible to heal from the devastation of a betrayal, whether it be from a partner, whether it be from a family member, friend, boss. It is absolutely available to you if you, like I said, take a kind of a leap of faith and recognize that there are people out there to support you. And I've had people in the community that have come in, like you said, through the Trust Challenge, and they were blown away at some of the things that they've discovered about trust. So,
And about themselves, which is
yeah,
what I love to see so much. Is
yeah,
and as we do this more and more, we just see, what I'm always blown away with is watching someone realize they're stronger than they thought.
yes,
They're stronger than they thought. They're able now to see things they never would have seen
yes,
beforehand, and building this new version of them that's their rules and their
yeah,
script, and what serves them and what works for them. And then the happier they become because of that, it flows out to
yeah,
everyone within their care and reach. So it's just so wonderful. Well, everybody, you are looking at Peggy, who is an example of someone who has rebuilt trust. This is what post-betrayal transformation looks like. This is what stage 5 looks like. It's doable for anybody. Both of us, we didn't do anything that anybody else couldn't do. Is it hard? Yes. Is it worth it? Yes.
yeah. And
So,
can I just say one last thing,
yes, please.
Debbie?
I was going to just say, do you have any final words?
I just want to say, just where you're talking about the trust challenge and finding out like a lot about themselves, that I think that is really key, because often when we have been betrayed, we make it about the other person and focus so much on our energy on the other person, but it's about turning inward into what we can control and what we can do and how we can heal. And I think that's what the Trust Again challenge is able to help people do that.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right, Peggy, thank you so much. And everybody, if whoever, if it feels like a fit, if it's a little bit scary, but it sounds exciting, it sounds hopeful and possible, that's how you know you're in the right place. Then join us. thepbtinstitute.com/trust-intensive. It's the self-love edition, and we'll see you there. Thank you so much, everybody. See you next time.